I didn't know who he was. He was 28 years old. And I reached out to Elon Musk and I said, how would you like to make $2,000 in one day? Selling X.com.
Was there any domain name that you wanted to buy that you couldn't?
So yes, there is one. X.com. So there's only been 3 one-letter .com domain names ever released, okay? One was X.com. One was Q.com, which turned into Quest Communications. They're a big consulting firm. And one was Z.com. Z.com was owned by a guy named Eric Zegast, just a dude who sold it. I don't know how much he sold it for. I had reached out to him before I didn't have the money. The other, X.com, was held by a guy with the last name Walker. And when I reached out to him, it was just before I had done the deal on Act.com. So I didn't really have money. And I asked him, I said, would you sell X.com? And he said, yeah, I will sell it for $10,000. I'll give you 48 hours to get me the money. And I said, interesting. And then I did what you do when you're in your 20s, 24, 25. I did nothing. I just goofed off. I hung out. I played video games. I went to school. Got back to him 47th and a half hour. And he's like, look, I'll give you 30 more minutes. That's it. I've got another buyer. And I said, okay, I'm going to get back to you. I didn't believe him. You know, people say that all the time. And I got back to him and he said, yeah, I've sold it. And I said, look, tomorrow I'm going to come back to you and I'm going to come with more than $10,000. And then I reached out to my dad and I reached out to other people who, by the way, had a little bit more money now, and I figured 10 grand wouldn't put anybody out. And he was like, look, I'll help sponsor you on this. I don't know what it means. I reached back out and I said, look, I will offer you, Rob, $1,000, and I'm going to offer the person that bought it 20% more than they paid for it in one day. It's a hell of a return. And he said, okay. He goes, look, if you make the deal happen, let me give you the person's name. It's Elon Musk. And he gave me the guy's email address, of course. And he wrote back one word answer, no, capital letters. And that was it. That was the end of my X.com story.
Did you ever try to email him back and offer more?
No, because I think once someone tells you that they're not open to making 20% on their investment in one day, you do a little bit of research. And I did my research after that. I was like, who is Elon Musk? And I looked it up and he had just sold a company. And I realized that first of all, we were not in the same peer group. This guy had made a ton of money and I was a law student. But secondly, he was pretty definitive. And look, when someone tells you no with all capital letters, it's especially no.